Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you had a good lunch. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, great, wonderful. My name is Mina Santiago. You need to assess the witness. Are they likable? Are they credible? Are they articulate? How do they hold up under the pressure of questioning? You want to know if your adversary asks the proper questions of your witness. You want to know how they comport themselves. Do they make a good appearance? Are they nice? What kind of person is this going to be in front of a jury? Is the jury going to like your opponent? You want to preserve the testimony of a witness who may not be available at the time of trial. You see this a lot in asbestos cases or cases where the plaintiff is, has a terminal illness. So in the asbestos cases where the person may have lung cancer or they may have mesothelioma, you want to make sure you preserve that testimony, so you want to get it done as soon as possible of the plaintiff so that you know that that's going to be there for you at the time of trial. The last thing you want is for the plaintiff or another witness to pass away before the trial comes up. You might also need a witness to authenticate certain documents. A lot of cases are made or broken on documents, so you want to make sure that those documents are authenticated. Of course, you can also get an affidavit afterwards to authenticate certain documents, but usually it's a lot easier to do it during a deposition and with testimony. The one thing I will tell you, though, is that I've seen a lot of attorneys conduct depositions like it's a cross-examination, and that is not what you want. What you want from a deposition is an info-gathering session. For me, the first thing that I do is to create a theme. And the creation of a theme is nothing really complicated. It's just, what is the story that you're going to tell a jury if this case goes to trial? Now, research your own client. I think a lot of us don't do that. We assume that we're going to have some sort of gotcha, some sort of aha moment. Research your own clients. And the reason for that is, as we're going to talk later when we talk about preparing your witness, you need to be able to bring up all the bad, ugly things that your client has done and that's going to come up at the deposition. Because just like you're researching, the other side is researching as well. So assume that they have all of the nasty stuff. Ask your client. A lot of them are not going to tell you, but do your research yourself. Now, let's talk a little bit about what a lawyer may or may not do. We've spoken a lot about investigators. We've spoken a lot about people that we're assigning this sort of research to, but what can you do yourself? Now, a lawyer may ethically view and access Facebook and MySpace. Well, we really dated ourselves with the MySpace. We're sorry about that. Profiles on a party other than the lawyer's client in litigation, as long as the party's profile is available to all members of the network. So if it's a public profile, you can view it. So what happens now if you're trying to view private pages? And that's really where all the gold is, right? That's where all the good stuff is in the private pages. So if you have a LinkedIn profile and you look at somebody's profile, your name comes up. That's against the ethical rules as well. Unfortunately. Anything where your name is coming up is going to be considered as contacting a represented party, and that's going to get you in trouble with the ethical board. So you have to be very careful about that. You have to be careful about telling your investigators. Most investigators have been doing it so long and so well that they know this, but you yourself should be very careful about what it is that you're doing when you're trying to see what these people are up to, especially if, like I said, you work for a small or solo practitioner where you don't have the budget to get an investigator. There are opinions on that that you can research. We had one there with it talks about deceptive conduct, and I think that's pretty self-explanatory. So we're going to move on to tip 4. Prepare your witness. This is another one that we really cannot stress enough. Prepare your witness. More cases I know have been sunken by an unprepared witness. Rob spoke briefly about trying to talk to your client for 15 minutes before a deposition. Don't do that. I would say talk to your client as soon as the case crosses your desk, after you create your theme and you kind of get a strategy in place for that. The next thing you should be doing after that is emailing or calling your client and saying, I want to sit down and speak with you. And the reason for that is twofold. One is you want that client to have that sense of comfort with you, that you're on top of things, but also because his or her memory is going to be best at that point. You can't wait 3, 4, 5, or if your case is in Kings County or Bronx County, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years down the line to try to meet with that client, because at that point they're going to be like, I have no idea if there was a pothole. I have no idea. They're just not going to remember, and they're going to be guessing. Prepare your client to avoid mistakes. They're not going to avoid every mistake because, of course, they're human, and things just don't work that way. You're going to have some bad facts to contend with. It just happens in every case. But if you're prepared, if they're prepared, you can actually minimize a lot of the bad things.